Hi everybody, I'm Cedric Kennedy, one of the co-founders at Arroyo Networks. Sitting right here is my co-founder, Matt Ellison. So I want you to imagine you are a brand new owner of a small accounting firm. Not brand new, it's your second year in business. And it's tax season right now. You've got a dozen clients, and a month later after conducting everything that you need to do, you get a call from one of your clients saying, hey, I got a confirmation that my tax refund was in my account, but I never saw it. And now you get another phone call, and another phone call. So you start looking into what happened. Well, you find out that your business was hacked, and that the account number and the routing number was diverted into the hacker's account. Quickly, the rumor spread around the small town that you live in, and all of a sudden, 6 to 12 months later, your business is closed. Well, that is the reality for a lot of small and medium businesses these days. In fact, about 50% of all small businesses that face a very successful attack end up going out of business within 6 to 12 months. So I'm here today to talk to you about our new solution towards network security and how we are setting out to go and protect these small and medium businesses from future attacks. So what's happening today is we've seen an exponential uptick in the amount of cyber attacks that are happening. Coincidentally, the target for those attacks have shifted greatly from large enterprises to small and medium businesses for many reasons. They're much easier to hack into. They have very valuable data, customer information, and oftentimes they're a backdoor to larger enterprises through the supply chain vector. So what you see here on the left side of the screen is a small business. Attached to it are networking appliances. These appliances, back in the day, used to do its job, but as we're seeing more advanced attacks occur towards small and medium businesses, these older machines are becoming obsolete. And the ones with more advanced functions that can protect against these attacks are very expensive. They can cost anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, depending on the size of your organization. Now, we're also starting to see a migration towards what we're hearing, or what's called cloud security. And what's really just happening is basically these appliances are being hosted at a different location and are being provided as a service through a technology called virtual machines. Now, although it's a step in the right direction, there are still many issues with this technology as well. It's still quite costly. It's very limited in terms of how much you can scale it, still requires a lot of maintenance, and still requires some type of equipment on premise for the small and medium business. So we've taken it to another entirely new step. I'm proud to introduce you, I was going to run through this real quick, to Inflow. Inflow is a completely cloud-driven platform. It's a ground-up solution. It's entirely our IP, and what we can do with this is eliminate that hardware completely out of the picture. As a small business, all that's really required is a simple router. That router then can connect to our cloud through what we call a gateway, which you see here on the screen. Now, what it can do is it processes all incoming and outgoing traffic within your business. For example, let's say an email is coming in. These are the yellow arrows. It gets pushed to the gateway, and all these little security shields you see represent a different security function. And based on your specific needs for your business, you can turn on and off the different functions that you need, allowing you to pay for exactly what your business requires. Once that traffic is verified as safe, it gets pushed through. It works the exact way for all incoming traffic, ensuring that the bad guys stay out of your network. Even more advanced than that, what we can do now, compared to what you would do with a single box, is we can collect some really important data. Now, all these different connections that we make towards our cloud, we can start to run some analysis towards that and find that threats or find hacks that have already occurred and begin to make smarter decisions and detect future and emerging threats, and in response build new security functions to protect against those. Much more than what you can do with a single box. Single box, you're looking at just that traffic going through that. We can now look at it from a global view and make much bigger and smarter decisions. Now what this provides us is a much more flexible solution. Once connected to our gateway, you can make any changes, we can deploy new functions in a matter of minutes. Whereas with the hardware appliances or even these virtual machines that are hosted in the cloud, it can take days, sometimes months. Require on-site visits from your service provider, or requires an entirely dedicated team to manage this equipment. We can provide a very affordable solution. We eliminate that hardware completely out of the equation, getting rid of that big capital expense. It's secure. We're basically replicating what you would find in these high-end appliances, providing that to these small and medium companies that didn't have access to it before. And lastly, we've built it for the service providers, which I'll explain why in just a second. But what we've done with this is we've created a single and unified platform that provides click and point functionality. So for a service provider that's managing the IT of a small company, they can simply click and turn on and off different functions based on the small business's needs and activate whatever they need, which removes the need for on-site visits, it lowers the overall management overhead, and increases productivity quite a bit. So that goes into our market strategy. So there are millions of small, medium companies. For us to reach out to each of those individually would take a lot of time, effort, a lot of money. So we are reaching out to what we call channel multipliers, managed service providers, consultants, the GoDaddies of the world. We found that accounting firms are actually a pretty decent channel for that as well. One that channels that already have trusted relationships with these small and medium businesses and grants us access to sometimes hundreds, if not thousands, of end users. So we actually sell direct. So we sell directly to those channel multipliers, and they go out and resell our subscriptions. So as the volume of subscriptions that they purchase increases, the price for those subscriptions decrease. And to lock in the end user, we provide it through a monthly subscription. So we call it security as a service, basically. Started with a base subscription with a basic firewall and VPN, user VPN, and then you can pay upgrades for more advanced functions for $5 to $20 per month, depending on the function that you're going to adopt. Where are we now? We've raised a little bit of funding from friends and family that allowed us to grow our team to 6 full-time people and 2 interns. We're working on the clock right now. We're deploying the first iteration of our technology here at the end of the month. We've got 6 clients that are on board who will be testing our technology and have agreed to become paying customers as long as everything goes according to plan, which we believe it will, as we're testing and using the technology in the back end ourselves. We're going to have third-party auditors come in and try to hack us and destroy what we've got, which will lead us to a hard launch here in May, and then a future release cycle that's all those different little functions that you saw we'll be building over the course of the next couple of years as we raise more funding. And behind the team, Matt Ellison, he's had over a decade's experience in network programming. He's also a Michigan Tech alumni. He was working down in Ann Arbor for several years and just had been working on this technology, the underlying technology, for the last couple years, actually. He and I met randomly downstate. We got to talking for several months, and we decided that we wanted to work together. I was fundraising for Michigan Tech, soliciting donors around the country, and I've got a background in entrepreneurial sales with a small little startup that I have worked on in the past. I also graduated from Michigan Tech and will complete my MBA this spring. I've got one last class I'm taking. And champions of success. We've been putting a lot of time and dedicating time to put together a credible board of advisors. Keith Glendon has 2 decades of experience working at IBM as the worldwide business leader for sales, business development, and their security. For their IT and security. Ken Kuski is an IT security expert. He's had 2 successful exits. He's IPO'd, and he's very well respected in the angel community around the state of Michigan. And what am I asking from the community? So right now, one of the big things I'm trying to do is I'm looking at different grant opportunities. I don't have very little experience with grant opportunities, and I'm willing to get creative with that, looking for different classes, services, whatever that might look like. I found a couple grants that look like there's some synergy there between what we're trying to do. Connections to MSPs, mostly for that, because we just want to learn from them. If they're willing to test our product for free, that would be fantastic as well. And then also small business feedback. If you have questions about cybersecurity as a small business, we would love to answer any and all questions you have. One, it provides us the ability to create some more valuable FAQ sheets, but also I'm planning a big tour around the state of Michigan where I've been talking to a lot of different chambers, so I can go to different communities and start building awareness for cybersecurity and start educating these small businesses around the state about the future and what they can do in response to these different threats. With that, that's all I've got. Thank you, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer. And if they get really technical, Matt's here to answer those questions. Yes?
What are MSPs?
Sorry?
What are MSPs?
Yes, managed service providers. I didn't explain that properly. So a lot of small and medium businesses outsource their IT needs to these service providers already. So it's a great channel for us since they've already got in with them. But what we're seeing is a big gap right now. So there's a certain gap of small businesses that have decided, I'm just going to take the chance and not run these advanced appliances on site because they're too expensive. But they have something on there, and there's some connection between them and the service provider.
That was like when CompuDyn.
Yep. Exactly. CompuDyn. Yep. Yes.
So what does this service do to your network speed?
So we actually we've got a great network speed. We can handle quite a bit. So what's pretty neat about our underlying technology and how we're doing this, we're built on top of a cloud infrastructure called Packet.net. And what we can do with this and how we can process the packets is part of our IP and allows us to mitigate some of those issues that you would find as a user on your end.
Where are you located?
We're located at 102 Quincy, right across from the 1Q1 building. So the old Gartner's building, we rented a storefront. So it's a little different. Everyone's like, oh, is there a new restaurant or what's going on? They're peeking in. But no, we graduated as we grew out of the 1Q1 building and said, you know what, let's start a trend here. And as they graduate, maybe they can start moving down the alley here in Hancock and we could build a little tech center of entrepreneurs.
Good.
I'm sorry, I have questions. So you mentioned you want to connect with other chambers and try to get connected to small businesses in the future. I mean, I guess have you reached out to the local chamber or anybody here to discuss doing that?
So actually, so it's funny, I haven't reached out to the local chamber because they're right here in my backyard. I should have, but because I've been doing a lot of trips downstate, I've been reaching out to a lot of the chambers in the area down there. I will be in the local area here though, soon.
So who's part of the chamber here?
Oh,
There you go.
perfect. Awesome.
Talk about competition. What kind of competition is out there? Are they larger firms? Are they smaller firms like yourself?
There's competition, across the board, and there's a lot of it.
So it's a fragmented market, so there's a lot of small players, not one or two who are becoming dominant in
So-
this field? Or?
There are one or two that are pretty dominant, and so what we're doing is we're creating a substitution to what's already out there. There are these hardware appliances or these cloud-driven virtual machines that are essentially doing what we're doing, but we're providing advantages in terms of speed, cost, scalability, ease of management. So there's a lot of different competition in a lot of different ways. Cybersecurity is so broad, and there's so many different solutions, so it's hard to really explain.
So there's a lot of market room for you anyway.
There's a lot of market room, especially because of the gap that's available right now. And this trend of hackers starting to target small and medium businesses have been very recent. We've all heard the headlines of these large enterprises, but there's hundreds of times more small and medium companies that are being hacked right now.
Okay, so I work for the Small Business Development Center, and I cover 6 counties, and we constantly remind these small businesses, they really should have some concern about cybersecurity, right?
Yes.
So then, because that includes the cost, they look at me and go, okay, how are we going to pick the right cybersecurity business to work with? Our stated goal that we give them a list that because they want to be local, they want to be some local. They're more touchy-feely with those small businesses. So, how would you address to them when they know nothing about cybersecurity? They're not going to be able to take a lunch and learn to be introduced to it. So, how do you approach those businesses when you say, well, here is a business that we're aware of in the area that's not far from you, but reach out to you?
Sure. So.
We usually identify niches.
Mhm. So with that, so there are a couple things. We are relying on service providers and consultants to resell our service. So the management aspect is not the business we want to get into. However, in the meantime, right now, that's kind of the game we are in, is reaching out to small businesses so that we can start earning that reputation. But we will be providing different reporting tools and whatnot and being in constant communication with those businesses so that they can see what's actually being done instead of just knowing that there's something being done and not really knowing if it's working. So our goal is to provide proof that things are working. We can show them what was blocked. If something was entered, what did and how can we create a plan to stop that in the future. Our tool won't stop everything, especially here in the beginning. As our first iteration of the technology is just going to be a VPN service and a simple firewall. And these advanced functions are coming later down the road. But we can provide an improvement on a lot of the issues that are happening right now for small and medium companies. But I think that's going to be that's one of the big hurdles that we're going to have to overcome because there is a big lack of knowledge of what's happening. And I think right now that's something that we're trying to work with those 2 advisors right now. How can we develop a strategy that gets in front of these individuals and starts educating them? So I'm really I really want to reach out to these chambers. If I could put on like luncheon clinics, more of an educational piece, not a sales pitch. Going in there, I mean, yeah, my name, Arroyo Networks will be there, but I'm not going to try and sell them. It's really going to be an educational pitch, and my goal and my focus is really going to be on that, not to try to sell them, earn their trust. So hopefully we have a lifelong customer rather than, instill some fear and get a quick short sale. That's the last thing we want to do right now. So if we can earn that reputation, at the same time that allows us to be stealthy and we can start working our way up the ladder into larger businesses as well. So we want to just be that trusted person by just being the honest security company, I suppose.
Well, and to add to that, we've been talking with Keith Glendon, one of our advisors, as Cedric mentioned. There's been talks around doing something like maybe some sort of security operations center that's local to the UP where these small businesses can go if there's any sort of issues, and that different companies like us can partner with them to provide different aspects of security. Because the whole thing with security is it's a layer game. It's not just one solution provides 100% protection. It's you want to change your organizational policies. You want to apply 3 or 4 different layers of mitigation. You want to teach your employees what to do. So there's been definitely talks about how do we provide some sort of central resource for that, where businesses can turn to and say, hey, we know nothing about this, help us.
That's a great idea.
Yes.
What about businesses who are like all in on the cloud and they have does your product help with businesses who have no hardware, physical hardware, but they have all their services are in the cloud already, like AWS or?
Yes, so we can connect to those different cloud services as well, just like we could connect to a piece of hardware. It's no different for us. So absolutely, it's very easy.
What would the average business pay for the service?
So that's actually some of the research we're doing through this piloting phase right now. Initially, our goal is to just offer it for free here at the beginning, and to really flesh out this pricing model that we're building. But as a subscription, we're starting at $49.99 for the basic VPN and firewall service that we're creating. But with that, though, if you look at other competitors right now, oftentimes that provides access to a couple users. So we have a no user guarantee kind of thing. It's basically per location for the business. And we're thinking what we could do is basically they could choose a bandwidth speed rather, and then we can provide it through that. That would be the base subscription price, what they'd be paying. So we're going to be testing different types of approaches to see what works best. So I don't have a really concrete answer yet, but that's something we're working on right now.
Any other comments, questions? Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you very much.